I said something that irritated the shit out of Kobe fans, even though I'm a Kobe fan, right? I said something that irritated, but that is a metrics. When I said 3 of his championships, he was a sidekick. And everybody's like, oh, he was never a sidekick. He was only 21, 22, and 23. Those championships. Shaq was the dominant force.
Gilbert Arenas just set off one of the NBA's most sacred debates. On his show, the former All-Star didn't mince words. He flat out labeled Kobe Bryant as a sidekick to Shaquille O'Neal during the Lakers' legendary three-peat. Not a partner, not a co-star, but a sidekick. That wasn't just casual commentary. It was a direct hit at the very core of Kobe's legacy. The backlash was immediate and intense. Fans, former players, and analysts jumped into the discussion, sparking a firestorm across the basketball world.
Every Superman won when they got the perfect partner. When they got the perfect partner, that's when they won.
Because at its heart, this debate isn't just about Shaq and Kobe. It's about respect, about greatness, and about who truly defined one of the most dominant championship runs in NBA history. The backlash to Gilbert Arenas' comments has been nothing short of brutal. Former teammates, fans, and analysts quickly rallied to Kobe Bryant's defense, refusing to let his legacy be diminished. Yet Arenas isn't backing down. In fact, he's digging in deeper. On Gil's Arena, he confronted the controversy directly. I said something that irritated the SH out of Kobe fans, even though I'm a Kobe fan. When I said 3 of his championships, he was the sidekick. Everyone's like, he was never a sidekick. But he was only 21, 22.
He was only 21, 22, and 23. Those championships. Shaq was the dominant force.
2 and 23. During those championships, Shaq was the dominant force. It's the kind of take that cuts especially deep, not because it's never been said before, but because it dares to challenge one of the NBA's most fiercely protected legacies. And the longer Arenas refuses to waver, the more explosive and polarizing this debate becomes. But Arenas didn't stop there.
Scottie Pippen was Scottie Pippen. No, if he scored 28 points and Jordan scored 30, we still know who's number 1 and number 2. We still know who's doing the heavy lifting.
He pushed the narrative even further, insisting that Kobe was treated like a sidekick, a Robin, or the next Scottie Pippen, rather than the 3-time champ he was. That Scottie Pippen comparison became the breaking point. For Kobe's fans, it wasn't just disrespect, it was outright sacrilege. Comparing the Black Mamba to anyone's number 2 was unthinkable, and it instantly turned the debate into a full-blown firestorm. The former Wizard star is essentially arguing that Kobe's first 3 rings don't carry the same weight because he wasn't the primary option. But
but we know we know who Robin is in this instance, right? So his 5 rings is still Robin rings.
That's the opinion. But I know that's
logic quickly falls apart. Since when does youth diminish championship contributions? At just 21, 22, and 23, Kobe wasn't simply along for the ride. He was closing playoff games, locking down defensively, and stepping up when Shaq fouled out or faced double teams. History doesn't erase those moments simply because he wasn't labeled the number 1. If anything, the fact that Kobe delivered all of this while still learning the league makes those championships even more extraordinary. But let's actually break down what the so-called sidekick Kobe accomplished during those championship runs. Start with the 2000 finals against Indiana.
The opening kick, and here is Kobe Bryant. And there is the first field goal.
When Shaquille O'Neal got into foul trouble and battled through injuries, who picked up the slack? Kobe Bryant. At just 21 years old, he averaged 25 points per game in the matchups where Shaq was limited. And then came that iconic Game 4. With Shaq fouled out in overtime and Kobe hobbling on a sprained ankle, he didn't blink. He took over, drilling dagger jumpers and waving off teammates with the confidence of a cold-blooded closer. That wasn't Robin to Batman, it was a 21-year-old announcing to the world that he was already built for the brightest stage. Kobe wasn't just along for the ride that year. He was the engine right alongside Shaq. Across the entire playoff run, he put up 29.4 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 6.1.
Bryant able to beat him off the dribble and rejected.
That's the play of the game defensively. Kobe Bryant, all-league defense, comes in from behind.
Assists per game. Those aren't sidekick numbers. Those are superstar, franchise-carrying numbers. And it wasn't only about the stats, it was about when he delivered them. In the Western Conference Finals against the Spurs, Kobe averaged nearly 33 points a night, outdueling both Tim Duncan and David Robinson. He shredded the league's best defense and tilted the series in the Lakers' favor before they even reached the finals. That's the context Gilbert Arenas conveniently ignores, because it blows apart his argument. The truth is, Kobe was never Robin to Shaq's Batman. He was iron sharpening iron. Two apex predators ruling the stage together. The Kobe was just Shaq's sidekick argument falls apart the moment you actually study the three-peat years instead of clinging to lazy labels. Shaq was the most dominant physical presence in basketball, no question, but the Lakers didn't win 3 straight titles because of sheer size alone. They won because Kobe Bryant was there to balance the equation. Every time the obvious option of dumping the ball inside was neutralized, Kobe stepped
in Los Angeles. Kobe up against Wade. They clear it out. He'll go past Wade. The follow-away. All even!
In and shifted the game's outcome. In 2000 against Indiana, when Shaq fouled out of Game 4, it was a 21-year-old Kobe who closed the game in overtime with a series of daggers that only a superstar could hit. In 2001 against San Antonio, Kobe flat-out outplayed Tim Duncan and David Robinson, averaging nearly 34 points and shredding the league's most respected frontcourt. In 2002 against Sacramento, while Shaq battled foul trouble and his free-throw demons, Kobe carried huge stretches of the offense against the most balanced roster in basketball. These weren't isolated, hero moments. They were a pattern, a demonstration that Kobe wasn't riding shotgun, he was alternating between the passenger's seat and the driver's seat depending on what the team needed. That's why the Robin label is so off base. A sidekick disappears when the alpha struggles. A co-superstar thrives in those exact moments. Kobe wasn't Shaq's Robin, he was the other Batman, equally capable of leading, equally capable of closing, and together they created a dynasty that neither could have built alone. Exactly, and you've put your finger on the irony at the core of the sidekick narrative. It was never really about Kobe's play.
Rest in peace to my boy Kobe, man. He probably as closer as anyone else to ever gonna be competing with MJ. He was a very complete competitor. He patterned his game, walk and talk like MJ and be like MJ.
Because the numbers, the moments, and the eye test all refuted it in real time. It was about framing, about controlling the story. Gilbert Arenas, like many others, acknowledges that Kobe was diminished by the media machine, but then falls right back into the same language that was designed to minimize him. That's the contradiction. The truth is, Kobe's presence during the three-peat didn't just complement Shaq, it completed him. Without Kobe's late-game shot-making, perimeter defense, and fearlessness in crunch time, the Lakers dynasty doesn't survive the battles with Indiana, San Antonio, or Sacramento. Yet the narrative stuck, not because it was accurate, but because it protected the Jordan mythology and—
I say all the time, my opinion is Mike and then it's Kobe.
Who do you think is like similar to Kobe now?
Nobody, stop it.
Well, I mean, like you got Kyrie and Devin Booker.
Stop it.
And kept Kobe in a not quite category. But the thing about Kobe is that he had too much longevity, too much brilliance, and too much will to let the story define him. The 2009 and 2010 titles weren't just banners in the rafters. They were rebuttals, permanent counterpoints to the idea that he needed Shaq to validate him. They proved he wasn't Robin, wasn't even Batman to someone else's Gotham. He was the author of his own saga. By the time his career was over, the debate wasn't whether he belonged in the conversation with the greats, but where exactly in that pantheon he stood. That's why calling him a sidekick today feels hollow, even lazy. Kobe didn't break out of the box.
People don't know this, but one of the reasons my husband played through injuries and pain was because he said he remembered being a little kid, sitting in the nosebleeds with his dad to watch his favorite player play. I remember asking him why he couldn't just sit a game out because he was hurting. He said,
"It doesn't matter if I'm sick. It doesn't matter if I have a sprained ankle. The kid that's sitting in there might be the next me sitting up there, watching and trying to get inspiration from that. I need to go out there and play."
Kobe didn't want to disappoint his fans, especially the ones in the 300 sections that saved up to watch him play. He never forgot about his fans. If he could help it, he would play every minute of every game. He loved you all so much.
The media tried to trap him in. He expanded it, reshaped it, and forced everyone else to adjust their lens. Exactly fire, and that's the perfect contrast to highlight. Gilbert Arenas is speaking as a commentator, removed from the trenches, piecing together a narrative years later. Ron Harper, on the other hand, was right there, in the locker room and on the floor, experiencing the reality of those championship runs. His perspective isn't theoretical, it's lived truth. And for a guy who not only played alongside Kobe and Shaq but also alongside Michael Jordan during Chicago's dynasty, Harper's word carries a unique authority. When he rejects the Sidekick label, it's not just opinion, it's testimony from someone who knows what a true Robin looks like. Harper saw Kobe stepping into that closer role, taking over when Shaq couldn't, and delivering in moments that defined the Lakers' dynasty. That's the key. Inside the team, Kobe wasn't treated as a sidekick.
Iverson said he had Kobe at 2, and Stephen A. challenged that. What makes Kobe special in player's mind, in a player's mind himself? We don't go by your stats. We don't go by the accolades. We go by how the person played, what was his attributes, right? So when you think about the greatest players of all time, 80% of them have God gift, natural talent, ability, body. Jordan, 48-inch vertical. You got the big hand. You got LeBron. Shaquille O'Neal, then Magic 6'9" point guard with vision. Kobe, standard. If I give you every 6'6" guard in the NBA and NBA history, you would never find him. You would never find Kobe because he didn't have big hands. He wasn't quick. He wasn't fast. 38-inch vertical, that's standard. And what he did with that body, it's like you took a S500 and he was pushing it like a Bugatti. That's what we look at. We look at the normal person fighting God.